very much. Over to you. Thank you, Shikha. I'm almost having imposter syndrome. I don't know what she's talking about. I want to just start with a qualifier that I am walking with a limp because I've pulled a muscle. My brand is certainly not limping. And while my brand may not have the best pair of legs, it's in certainly very good hands right now. So we'll start with that. What I wanted to take all of you through is really the challenges that one faces in retail. While I have contextualized it in retail, I think it can apply across the board, and some thoughts on how we can overcome those challenges. I'll start with a little bit of context. I mean, we all know these numbers, but look at the huge opportunity that we're going to see in India in the next 3-4 years. 23% of our population is going to be middle class and above. They're going to be earning more than 10 lakhs equivalent of today's numbers annually. That's a huge, huge percentage of the population. We are seeing that the QSR industry, and in fact the cafe industry, is absolutely keeping pace with this growth. The cafe industry in India today is 5,000 crores, and the QSR industry is likely to move from close to $700 to $1,100 million in the next 2 years. So huge opportunities, and we see a 9% CAGR for QSR as well as the cafe industry. I want to talk a little bit about Gen Z and millennials, but before I do that, we all know that there are around 5 billion people who use the internet, so more than 70% of the world's population. Look at the second statistic. More than 4 trillion text messages have been sent by businesses alone in 2022. And if I add the personal context, it will be probably 100 times that number. However, 33% of adults experience a feeling of loneliness. And this is only the declared number. The actual number is much, much more. Further, if you look at this research that was done by McKinsey sometime back on Gen Z and millennials, if you look at the top worries of both Gen Z as well as millennials, you see cost of living, climate change, healthcare, unemployment, and crime, personal safety. These are big, big worries that Gen Z and millennials have. And I would just request you to keep all of this in mind as we go through the various challenges. Our vision and our mission at Starbucks is really built on not the best coffee, but the best connection. We have an Indian now who's a global CEO, so another made in India kind of export that has happened for Starbucks globally. And our mission is with every cup, with every conversation, with every community, we nurture the limitless possibilities of human connection. And I'll talk a little more about this. Why this is important is because I always say we are not in the coffee business. We are in the business of people serving coffee. What do I mean by that? The first challenge when you're in any industry and in a retail industry and you talk of an experience, what does that experience really mean? How can you sustain that experience? And how can you differentiate that experience from competition? For Starbucks, that experience is very, very simple. You go to any other QSR, you will be bill number 3475, and you will go and you'll have to go and take your order from the counter. At Starbucks, the barista will ask you your name, will write it on the cup, mostly will get the spelling right. I get, teased a little often about the spelling being wrong, but we'll get the name right. Call out your name and you'll go and get your order, right? A lot of our customers come and tell us that the best part of Starbucks is that they feel seen and heard. They've had a tough day at work, they've had a tough day at home. This is their zone where they are recognized, they are seen and heard. So really that's the experience of Starbucks. And if I had to sum it up in one line, the experience and the thing that differentiates Starbucks is the fact that it starts with your name. So the first challenge and the way we've circumvented it is we've created this differentiated experience because we have always kept our eyes firmly on the customer. I'm going to quote Maya Angelou over here, who said that people may always forget what you said to them or did for them, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And if I can capture the Starbucks experience in one word, it's kindness. A very, very underrated kind of adjective, but it is so important in today's world, and it is so important from the point of view of experience. So it always starts with your name, and therefore it starts with what you want. There is a saying that there are more than 100,000 lattes in Starbucks because the way you would like it, which is extra hot, let's say with a little bit of vanilla, with a little bit of cream, would be very different from what somebody else would like it. So it always starts with your name. I'm going to play our recent ad, which is a little controversial, and I'm going to also talk about that. So let's see how it starts with your name. इस बार गुस्सा मत होना प्लीज
Thank you, Papa, for meeting me. I know बड़े साल बीत गए, लेकिन आप आज भी मेरे लिए सब कुछ हो.
कॉफी. तेरी आदतें नहीं बदली.
3 cold coffees for Arpita. Three cold coffees for Arpita.
बेटा, मेरे लिए तो आज भी मेरा बच्चा है. बस एक लेटर ही तो ऐड हुआ है तेरे नाम में.
It did take us a lot of courage to go ahead with this, and I think the reason we went ahead is because we really believe in this context. It was a story of an Indian family. It is a story of a true transgender model called Sia. But the point that I'm making is that if you truly believe that it starts with the customer's name, then you have to truly accept the customer as he, she, they wish to be seen and heard. So that's the first thing, and that's what creates a differentiated experience. The second challenge, how do you acquire new customers? Today we are present in more than 43 cities across India. We have more than 340 stores. But what got us till here will not get us going ahead. So the second challenge that we had was if we had to get a next new set of customers in, we had to break the intimidation barrier. Customers who are not from a Mumbai and a Delhi, those who are in a Ranchi or a Siliguri or Bhubaneswar, are intimidated by Starbucks because of the price. They find some of the menu difficult to pronounce. They may feel a little out of place. They may find that there are not enough products for them. What did we do? We didn't want to dilute our experience, but we want to be a 1,000-store company in India. China has 5,000 Starbucks stores. There are 1,000 Starbucks stores in Shanghai alone. Okay, so that's the potential. What do we do? 2-3 things. One is for the first time ever, we introduced a 6-ounce beverage called Pico, a size which is non-existent globally. It kind of takes off from the insight that Indians want to have lower quantities of beverages than their US counterparts. And of course, it allowed us an elegant entry point at a price. Second, we introduced masala chai, filter coffee. We defeated our highest selling product, Frappuccinos. I would say that if you want to acquire new customers, kill your most successful product. When I say kill, I don't mean to say that ruin it completely, but have an alternative. We launched milkshakes because we recognize that that's a completely different category. We, of course, launched a completely different food menu. We piloted all of this because these were significant changes. The pilot gave us more than 10% new customer acquisition at existing stores without doing anything else. And we've now gone national with this. There is also the softer aspect of intimidation. We had to train our baristas to say, you need to treat customers who come into a store and who are new well. Don't have hang-ups and don't expect customers to know everything. That's a soft skill. And I'm going to show you an example of how we've kind of made fun of ourselves, and this will be self-explanatory.
Bro, feeling underdressed, yeah.
Stress मत ले bro.
Tall cold brews for cool, bro. Vishy.
Your comfort has no dress code for us. Starbucks, it starts with your name.
So there are a lot of jokes which say that you have to have a MacBook, you have to be dressed well to walk into a Starbucks. And of course, we want to bust the myth. And once again, here the barista is playing the key role and saying that your comfort has no dress code for us, and that's your comfort is important. So getting new customer acquisition, I think, is going to be a huge overhaul, which means that you defeat your best-selling product, you really create an ecosystem where new customers feel welcome, and you break away the intimidation. The third challenge, is there a future for offline? We are investing in stores, we are putting a huge amount of money in stores, and you will be happy to know that, of course, during COVID, everything was shut. Before COVID, our delivery contribution to top line was 4%. Today, it stands at 10% and our stores are packed. So for all the noise on online, please remember that consumers are social animals who thrive on connection. We saw the data point on loneliness. People want a place where they can go and talk to a person, look into a person's eye, feel that connection. Do not underestimate, the importance of offline. We, of course, did a lot of stuff on online, whether it's overhauling delivery packaging, introducing mobile order and pay, where you can walk into a store, pick up a beverage and walk out in 10 minutes, launched our drive-thrus. But even in drive-thrus, you'll be amused to know that people actually go and sit up in the drive-thru. So do not underestimate the power of human connection and offline ever. So that's the third challenge in learning that we've had. Fourth challenge, does purpose pay? The answer is no. No customer is going to pay you extra because you're doing charity or CSR. I'm going to touch on two aspects of purpose. One is purpose for the organization, and I'm going to narrate the NASA story here. Years ago, when John F. Kennedy was actually touring NASA, he went to the washroom and then he came out and he was a little lost. So he bumped into a janitor and he got talking with the janitor. And he asked that janitor, what do you do? And the janitor said, sir, I'm helping putting man on the moon. That was the level of purpose that every member of the organization had. So one has to question oneself, does everyone in your organization have that sense of purpose? At Starbucks, it is uplift the everyday. So all of us get up every morning saying that for every customer that walks into our door, we want them to have the best part of their day. However, we also saw that millennials and Gen Z want to associate more with brands that have a sense of purpose. So don't make purpose expensive for them, but if you can beautifully integrate purpose in what you do, all things being equal, they will kind of associate with the brand, and I'll give you a demonstration of that.
Thank you from Sneha. Thank you from Seema. I'm Ashima. Thank you from Sarah.
Thank you from Meena.
Thank you from Raji. Thank you from Sabina. Thank you from Raji.
You're welcome. But for what?
For giving Raji a chance to attain a bright future.
The new Sabyasachi Starbucks merchandise. Starbucks, you and me, we can come together to support, educate girls and give young girls across rural India the bright future that they truly deserve.
So, Starbucks has done a lot of work with respect to community, sustainability. Thing that we found is consumers can, of course, see through a one-off incident or one-off purpose that you may want to latch onto versus really being on purpose. When we launched the Sabyasachi Starbucks merchandise, it actually went on to become the highest selling merchandise in our history of existence in India. We didn't do anything complicated. What we only did is two of us came together. Sabyasachi also believed in the cause. We were working with this organization called Educate Girls, and both of us contributed to Educate Girls and helped around 3,000 young girls. And the whole communication was really an interesting twist to the Starbucks ritual. The Starbucks ritual is you walk into a store, your name is called out. We turned that over and we actually had a thank you message to every customer from a girl that he or she was really helping. So my learning is that you cannot charge extra for purpose. You have to really believe it as an organization and do it. And then of course, you will get frequency, but you will not get consumers paying more for purpose. The next challenge, how do you get and retain the best people? Here I'm going to actually draw learnings from the Tata Group. All of us know about the incident that happened at the Taj many years back and how the Taj employees kind of risked their lives and actually saved a lot of customers. Couple of learnings that they found, people from smaller towns have higher levels of aspiration and are ready to go the extra mile. Then you, of course, always look for people who have had difficult circumstances in their life and overcome that. People who have a high sense of integrity and people who are kind. Learning over here is, one, if you want to be the brand that provides the best experience, you have to have people who are amenable to that. But more importantly, you have to keep them very, very happy. I mean, imagine, nobody's going to be smiling at a customer if they've had, a screwed up day at work, right? It's just not going to be possible. We don't do that. How can we expect the baristas to do that? Some of the things that we've done is, we are the only country in the world, Starbucks operates in 80 countries across the world, which have stores which are completely run by women. We encourage our partners who are also, performing with disabilities, they are hearing impaired, speech impaired, we encourage them to also take part in our coffee tasting. I'm very close to my end, Shikha, just bear with me. But I think the important thing is to constantly measure, we measure customer satisfaction, but really to measure employee satisfaction day on day, hour on hour, month on month. We have a ritual called a coffee tasting, which we do in our stores. This video always gives me goosebumps, and I'm going to show you how language is never a barrier and the language of coffee is universal. So Nirbhay, who you see in that video, is actually one of my favorite baristas. For those of you in Bombay, you will find him at the Shah Rukh Khan store or the Backstage or Red Chillies store. A lot of the women in our women-only stores are probably the first women who have ever worked in their families. And it has not been easy for us to get them on board. Many times we call their parents home to show them the kind of work environment and the respect they get, and then they become a catalyst for the whole community. Very quickly, because Shikha is breathing down my neck, I'm going to go to my last two challenges. Second last challenge, does loyalty exist? At Starbucks India, we have a 2.5 million loyal base. What I do expect my barista to do every time a customer who's part of the loyalty member walks in is to be able to almost predict what he or she is likely to have. At the back end, of course, we have strong analytics, which is a recency, frequency, monetary value. And therefore, I can actually peg my offers, peg my model, prevent churn prediction, peg my spends to this model, drive customer behavior either vertically or horizontally, get customers to move from one category to another. This is all the back end, but at the front end again, it has to be supported by making the customer feel special and making them feel like they are very, very important to the brand. Lastly, does Web 3.0 drive revenue? And over here I have a segmented answer. I found that Gen X are forced adopters of Web 3.0. Millennials will look at Web 3.0 for experience, but Gen Z is going to look at Web 3.0 for creation. So you will have to provide the Web 3.0 experience depending on your target segment. Starbucks US has launched Starbucks Odyssey, which is a program where you can actually generate NFTs, and the NFTs will allow you to get free beverages and drinks, and there is a direct link back to the loyalty program. So yes, Web 3.0, if you can link it to loyalty, if you can link it to purchase, is a revenue driver. However, many times if you can even use it for engagement, it can actually give you much higher frequency. So those, ladies and gentlemen, with I think 2 minutes overtime, are the 7 challenges that we have. We may not have encountered it all. These are just our thoughts. That's how we kind of deliver the Starbucks experience one cup at a time. Thank you.
Deepa, thank you very much.